Hello, hello, social media land. This is Latrina Artist with the Jeanette Rankin Women's Scholarship Fund. I am the scholarship program director here at this amazing organization. I hope you guys that have been sitting on hold or have been patient with us. Technology tends to always have its way. Of course, when you think you have everything figured out, it's always something kind of comes up and make you kind of rethink what you did. But nevertheless, we're in here. So, what we're going to do is go ahead and jump into this. Again, I want to just kind of give a brief overview to somebody who may be watching this for the very first time. If you do not know who the Jeanette Rankin Women's Scholarship Fund is, I'm telling you, have not been living. So, basically, what we do award scholarships here to women we're a national organization, and we award scholarships to women 35 and over who are going back to complete their first bachelor's degree or lower. So it could be an associate's level that they're going back to complete. I want to talk about several things within our application cycle, but also too, let me mention that we sponsor and give out scholarships for the Emerge Scholarship. Emerge, actually, the only difference for it is the age and the location. If you live in Georgia, you are definitely eligible to apply for the Emerge scholarship, and you would need to be 25. So the age limit is actually lowered for the Emerge scholarship. So the whole reason for me doing this live today, if you don't know, if you are interested in applying and eligible for our scholarship, our application cycle is currently open. Woohoo, that's an amazing thing. So you can definitely go over to our webpage, which is, let me go ahead and say that, Rankin, that's RANKIN, foundation.org. And if you would go over to where it says there's like a tab for students, or better yet, up at the top, you can just literally click on apply. But what I would recommend is that you actually review the eligibility criteria prior to you actually going over to click on apply to that particular application. Okay. So, just kind of so you know who we are, what we do, we have been doing it now for 45 years. We have given out over more than $3.5 billion, and over 1,000 women have been blessed to be able to receive this scholarship. So just know we're not just coming up on the scene. We have been around for some time, and we expect to be around for even longer. So thank you again for those of you who have taken out of your time to join me on today. So what are we talking about today? Since our scholarship cycle is currently open, and me being the scholarship program director here at the Jeanette Rankin Women's Scholarship Fund, I have seen over the course of the years that individuals start an application but do not complete it. So that's kind of what we want to talk about. And this is, I will say, is specific to our application. However, some of the information that I will share with you will definitely be able to hopefully help you and assist you when you're applying for other applications. Sounds good? Alrighty. So let's just get right in. I want to talk about, first of all, just our eligibility criteria for our application. If any application, this is relevant for any application that you are filling out, you want to make sure that you actually qualify for that application. Reason being, if you don't, you're wasting your time, and unfortunately you're going to waste some of the organizations or volunteers time who are looking to review that application. So make sure that when you go in there, you understand what the eligibility criteria is. For example, like for us, for the Jeanette Rankin Women's Scholarship Fund, again, that scholarship is for women who live outside of Georgia, okay? And who, if you're 35 and older, if you are a citizen or permanent resident of the United States, You would need to be pursuing a technical vocational associate's or your first bachelor's degree. These are things and actually qualify as low income. We do have an income guideline bracket that if you go over to our website, you can see that. I won't get into all of that because it's based on your household size and your income. If you're a US citizen and if you are enrolled in or accepted to a not for profit, regionally or nationally accredited institution, then you would definitely want to get over and actually consider applying for the Jeanette Rankin Women's Scholarship Fund scholarship. However, with Emerge, the only difference there is that you are 25 and older and you must live in Georgia. Okay. So just wanted to kind of point out the eligibility criteria for us. But again, here with any scholarship that you are applying for, you would want to actually make sure that you look over the eligibility criteria and that you ensure that you are in fact eligible, okay, to apply for that scholarship. I want to say this before I get further into this discussion. I, of course, am live here, but I do have joining me on the back end of it. She'll probably be replying if you got some comments or things going on there. Tylana Baker, she's an associate here at the Jeanette Rankin Women's Scholarship Fund. So if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. She'll get them over to me, and we'll definitely, hopefully, be able to address. We'll hopefully be able to address some of them. Okay, and then to be honest with you, we'll probably address them as we go in or go through the actual, just talk. We're talking here today. We're talking here today, just learning about this application process and hopefully helping you get through the process for yourself. Okay, so we talked about the eligibility criteria. Let's talk about the income. For our scholarship application, and I'm sure others, you will be required to prove or verify, submit documentation to verify your income with us. I can only use us because I'm speaking specifically of our application process. We do ask that you upload your most recent tax documents. We don't need your entire taxes, but at least those first, we'll say 4 to 5 pages, because depending on who you use, you may have kind of like a header page and so forth. But basically, what we need to know, we need where it says your AGI. AGI is your adjusted gross income. Okay, that's what we need to know. And we need to see that for everybody in your household. I'm going to use for an example. If you're married and you only upload your income, we can't actually verify your spouse's income if you list on your application that they're supporting you. The example is, say for instance, if you're not working and or if you're working part-time and your spouse is working part-time and you list both of your incomes on there, please upload documentation, okay, for to prove that income. Let's talk about taxes because we do one of the questions that we have gotten quite frequently, especially for now, because a lot of people have not filed their taxes just yet. If you have not, that's fine. Please use your 2019 taxes, okay? That's totally fine. However, if you have filed, go ahead and upload that. But what we would prefer is if, say, for instance, if you have your W-2s already, you can actually utilize your W-2s to verify your income. The main thing is that you upload the documents for the individuals that you have listed on your application that actually support your household. If that's, the wife and the husband, great. Could be the just if you are not married and if you live with your parents. If your parents provide the support for you, then that's what we need, okay? Just be real clear and then, oh, while I'm thinking about this, definitely make sure when you upload that file that it works. Okay, because unfortunately we have individuals that upload a file but the file we can't open it or we can't read it so that it's clear, it's readable, it's legible. Also, let me talk about this because we get this question quite a lot. Well, I don't work right now, but I'm on unemployment. Unfortunately, we're in a pandemic, and that is the case we have heard a lot. You can upload that. That's okay. If that's how you're supporting yourself, upload your unemployment statement that gives and lists out what you're getting out, on a weekly basis. Another thing, if you get TANF or, SNAP or any Social Security, if you get any of those things, guess what? You have some type of letter that actually states what you get per month. And let me say this, if you're on TANF or SNAP, that's actually it puts you into the low income category actually almost automatically. So if you would upload that for your family, that can be utilized as that can be utilized for your income verification. Okay, sounds good. Awesome, awesome. Does it sound good to everybody? I hope so. Again, our goal is to ensure that you are getting the information that you need so that you can successfully apply for this scholarship. Okay, so income documents. Does anybody, looking at the thread, does anybody have any comments or questions about that? I will go ahead and address the one that I see. Um, Augustina, no for international students. Because here, what we found out for one, I mean, even if you're a US citizen, but being able to get it over to the school, that's where we will run into some challenges with international. So unfortunately, that would be we would have to say no for that. Hopefully that answers your question. However, if you're ever back in the States, definitely feel free to apply if you're still in school and eligible to apply. Okay. If that doesn't answer your question, definitely put a comment back in there and we can get to it. Or anybody else that has a question, feel free to utilize the chat feature. Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. So we've talked about eligibility, income, the documents that you need. Let's talk about accreditation. Okay, this kind of hits me where it hurts because oftentimes we will see students that are attending colleges or universities that are not accredited. Now, there are, and I won't get into this because we don't have enough time to get into it. There are I guess six big overarching accrediting agencies that you can fall in. I guess the regional ones, but you do have national ones. So your school does for us. It does need to be an accredited university. Now, the accreditation is good for multiple reasons. For one, you want to always think about, say, for instance, if you're at a 2-year university and you're looking, or excuse me, technical college, looking to go over to a 4-year university, if that school is not accredited, let me tell you what happens. Those credits that you've taken at that technical college will not transfer. So hear me and hear me real clear. When you are not attending an accredited university, it's almost like you're going to school for nothing. Okay. And then it's not actually a reputable source for you. So, say for instance, if you only want to obtain an associate's degree, and that's totally fine. Okay. If that's what your dream and goal is, but say for instance, you finish and after you finish, you now start looking for job opportunities. And then you find out that that school is not accredited. You may have even some employers that will not hire you because your degree now is actually not looked at as a reputable degree. Okay. So you definitely don't want to put in the hard work. And I don't even want to talk about the money that you will end up paying out to have attended school for 2 years just for you to find out it's not an accredited university. Let me say this, if you want to ensure that it is, trust you me, the Department of Education, U.S. Department of Education has a long list of schools that are accredited and who their accrediting agency is. So before you decide you want to attend a university, I really beg of you, ma'am, please go and ensure that your school is accredited. Okay. I'm telling you, you will thank me in the end because you, again, don't want to find yourself attending a school that is not accredited and then you basically exhausted and wasted your funds. Again, I can go down a whole soapbox now, and we can talk about that offline. If that's you and you're in that situation, the best advice that I can give you at this point is find you a school that is accredited, withdraw from that school immediately, and you'll find out really quick. Say, for instance, if you're looking to transfer, if a school tells you, no, we can't accept the credits from that school, or if you found yourself in that position in the past, it may be that that school was not accredited. And I want to say I am sincerely sorry to anybody that have found themselves there. Ask me why I know and why I feel the emotions that I do, because I was once that person. So that's why now I literally beg of individuals to do your own due diligence and check and ensure that your school is accredited prior to you attending that school. Trust you me, you'll thank me. The school will thank you if you're looking to transfer. And of course, the funds will thank you, because if you've exhausted your financial aid and going to an accredited university, oh boy, again, we can get on a whole soapbox. But that's another thing. Let me mention that oftentimes now with federal funds, if you're not attending an accredited university, you may not even qualify to get federal funds. So just know, if you're one of those ones who are needing those funds, I'm telling you, I know it's a lot of work. It can be a lot of reading. And I will say this, it can be quite frustrating, but it will be well worth it for you to ensure that you found out and done everything that you need to do on the front end, so you don't have to have the pain and the hurt on the back end. Does that sound good? Does that make sense? Okay. If not, definitely put in the chat any questions or comments that you may have. Something else that for the Jeanette Rankin Scholarship, again, I'm speaking specifically to ours, and we are addressing, if you're just joining us, we are addressing some of the questions that we get repeatedly in our info box, the things that we get asked over and over and over again. So we thought if we come on here, we can share this in a live format and then share it out with the individuals to help them get through our application process. Okay, if you already have a bachelor's degree, that actually would put you in the category of being disqualified for our scholarship, the Jeanette Rankin or the Emerge. Reason being, eligibility states if you're in pursuit of your first bachelor's degree. I understand that now sometimes if you were in a field that was not productive and you want to now go back and change careers, we understand that. However, if you already have a bachelor's degree of any type, it doesn't matter what that was, how many years ago, because once we actually verify you, it will show us that you do have a bachelor's degree. So if you have a bachelor's degree already, a master's degree, or I mean, there are some that are currently working, of course, on a doctorate. Unfortunately, you will not be eligible either, because ours only go up to a bachelor's degree. Okay. Again, here, hopefully that makes sense to you. Again, if you're going back to work on a second one, or one of the things, a question that we get quite often, well, I have a bachelor's already, but I want to get a certificate in something. We trust you me, we applaud and commend you on your drive and desire to continue to further your education, but you would still not qualify to apply for our application because you already have a bachelor's degree. Okay, does that make sense? Awesome. Right on. Let's keep rocking and rolling. We're doing good here talking about this application cycle and just some of the things that have come to us over and over. The next thing we do say now in our application, that you need to be attending a not for profit university, not for profit. If you look at some of your colleges, unfortunately, you may be in a for profit. So there is a for profit and there is a not for profit. Again, I will not go into all of what a for profit and a not for profit, but what I want to focus on for this particular call and just us navigating the issues that we come across, not for profit is an entity that actually is just that, is not looking to make any profit off you attending their school. Also, at not for profit schools, you don't have like shareholders or anybody that will be able to actually make money off you. Oftentimes, not for profit, not going to say all the time, but oftentimes, not for profit schools are actually cheaper. For profit schools tend to be a little more expensive. Let's kind of go back to talking about what the with financial aid. Some financial aid departments will not, I don't want to say financial aid departments, some federal loans will not actually give you funding if you're attending a for-profit university. Again, we can go, I'm telling you, we could dig in just this conversation alone for some time. But what you also want to do, I mean, just make the best decision for you. Now, we can't tell you what that is. However, our goal here at the Jeanette Rankin Women's Scholarship Fund is to ensure that you, first of all, come out of finish your education and finish it with the least amount of debt possible. Okay, and if you're attending a for-profit university, unfortunately, that could be costing you a lot more than you may want to have to pay back, especially if you're taking out loans. Because unfortunately, if you're attending that for-profit university and it's quite expensive, that means you're probably having to take out some loans to help fund your education. And we want you to just look at the whole picture. Think about once you're done, what that loan repayment is going to look like for you. And we also want to ensure that you're not coming out, already with an astronomical amount of debt. Okay. So really, really think about that. And don't get me wrong, I know everybody's situation is unique and different. And we don't want to make you feel like you have made the wrong decision. We will never say that. However, for our scholarship, it's just that you may not be eligible to apply if you are attending a for-profit university. Okay. Hope that makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, feel free to reach out to us. I mean, I'll go ahead and put our email address out there for you. It's info at Rankin, that's RANKIN foundation.org. Okay. If you have questions, trust you me, we definitely will answer any of those questions that you have. And our goal here again today is to hopefully get you through completing your application with us for this year. Okay. I talked about earlier that we do have, or you have the opportunity to apply for two of our scholarships. One is the Jeanette Rankin Scholarship, which is for women 35 and older who live outside of Georgia. And then we have the Emerge Scholarship, is for women who are 25 and over who live in Georgia. You cannot apply for both. Well, you can. I take that back. You can apply for both. However, we don't encourage that because you only can receive one of them. If you live in Georgia, I would strongly recommend and encourage that you apply for that one. Okay. So just know that I don't want you to, for one, send the information out to your recommenders because we do ask you for a couple references, and we'll talk about that after I finish commenting on this. So if you are in Georgia, please apply for the Emerge Scholarship. Actually, I think there's a benefit there because the age is lower for you to be able to apply for the Emerge Scholarship. However, if you live outside of Georgia, it's automatically 35 and older. And here's the thing, let me talk about that age limit. As long as you are 35 by June 30th of this year, so 2021, that's kind of when we close out our application. Well, I'm not going to say the application is already closed, which closed out February the 26th, but we kind of close out that phase of the application round because we now begin to make awards, okay, for our new incoming scholars. Likewise for the Emerge Scholarship, if you will turn 25 by June 30th of 2021, you are still eligible to apply. Okay. So just know as long as you meet that number by that June 30th date, you can definitely get in there and apply for our scholarship. Awesome, awesome. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions or comments about that? Definitely reach out. Recommenders. That's another thing that I want to touch on. We ask you to get 2 letters of recommendation. We actually note in there that you can use your pastor, you can use your advisors, you can actually even use one of your friends. But who you cannot use is a family member. You would not believe the amount of applications that we have received in the past that it's clear you put on there, this is my mom. Let me say this to you. If you are in there applying for one of our scholarships, please, ma'am, go to somebody who knows you very well. Okay. The reason I say that is because they can actually talk about you in a way that actually highlights you, that elevates you. This is what I share with the individuals if I have an opportunity to speak with them, if they do in fact send us a message in our info box. Well, I can't get this person to reply. If you can't get that person to reply, you probably need to choose somebody else. Reason being, you want to get somebody who will be responsive. The application is time sensitive. So if that person is not replying, guess what? Even if you have submitted your portion of the application, your application will still be flagged as incomplete if your recommenders don't get in and do their part. So that's why I say make sure you get somebody who you know, who you trust, who you have faith and confidence in to be able to complete that recommendation on your behalf. Also, what I was saying to those that get into our info box, you want to think about that individual that is going to write that recommendation on your behalf. How much do they know about you? Do they know what your educational pursuits are? Do they know anything about your educational journey? Do they know what it is that you're looking to do? You want to make sure that whomever you ask to complete that letter of recommendation for you knows enough about you as a person, as a student, in order to be able to to write a really good recommendation on your behalf. What I say to you and what I'll say to them is paint a picture of this woman. Tell us who she is. Tell us how you know her. Tell us actually how she has impacted, you in whatever way, and just the skill set that you have that they think would make you a good candidate for either of our scholarships. Okay. So please, when you're in there, don't just pick anybody to complete a recommendation for you. Ensure that you're giving that some thought and actually selecting the best person for you. Okay. Definitely hope that makes sense. All right. Here's actually the last thing I kind of want to talk about. And if you got any questions, I can definitely address them. Your personal statement. We ask you to actually, well, this year, well, no, for the last 2, 3 years, this is the third year going into it, that we've broken the personal statement down into questions. Prior to, we were asking you to actually write, I think, a 1,500 word, 2-page essay, double spaced, and all of that. But we revamped that process, that portion of it. We ask the same questions that we were asking you to write about it if you were going to write the 2-pager, but we just now break the questions down into individual questions. I think there is we set it, I think, to 200 or 400 words. So you're still getting to that 1,500 limit. However, this is my recommendation for you. If I ask you what one of the questions, I'll go ahead and put it out there. What are you most proud of? Or what are your most proud, one of your most proudest moments, or what are you most proud of is exactly how it's stated. Please, ma'am, detail out why you're proud. I'm gonna give an example. Say, for instance, um, let's just say you volunteer. You volunteer at a homeless shelter. Okay, that is amazing because you're giving of your time. But why are you proud? Explain to us why you are so proud. I mean, a lot of us, if you have children, that may be one of your most proudest moments is being a mother. Okay, why? Explain to us why that is your most proudest moment. I mean, the list can go on and on. And, I again don't have a whole lot of examples that I want to just share out, but I want you to really be thoughtful. Thank you. I mean, take your time to think about those responses. Matter of fact, this is what I would recommend you do. With those questions, instead of just hitting submit rather quickly to submit your application, share it out with somebody who knows you. Get them to look over the personal statement and ask them, hey, does this make sense? Do you have any questions for me? Because this is what we often find. You will start maybe talking about something, but if you don't finish whatever that it is or close it out, that leaves the reviewer having a question and wondering, well, what did she mean about that? You don't want them to be wondering, what did you mean? You want to explain in detail everything out, whatever it is that you made on that particular application. Okay. So just be real, be particular. I mean, listen, we have some that, that submit with a sentence, but we have some that submit with 2 pages, and that's okay. Whichever it is for you, we're not stressing that you do. I mean, we're not leaning to one or the other, but what we are saying is that one sentence will not give us detail about that particular question that we ask. So if you're the one that writes one sentence, that's probably not going to answer all of the questions that that reviewer will have. I will say that we have amazing volunteers that review these applications. And when I tell you, they comb through them, they literally comb through them, and they will find that answer if you have it in there. Okay. So please, 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 ma'am, I beg of thee, when you are in there completing the application, please be very detailed. Let the volunteer in on your life, okay? Literally, because all they know about you is what's on that application. And so ask yourself before you hit submit to that application, have I really let this individual know that's going to review my application who I am and why they should, actually consider me for being considered as one of these scholarship recipients. Okay. Again, here, those are not all of the things that we come into, but those are the things that repeatedly kind of come back to us. And these are some things that we can actually give advice and comments to you and just share our experiences being on the other end of the poll where you submit your application and you being the submitter. If you have any other questions, if you're in the application process, please, ma'am, please send us an email. If you can put the email in that chat section that you will need to send it over. But if you're watching this, shoot us an email, info@rankinfoundation.org. And I promise you, we will get back to you to get all of your questions answered and addressed. Before we sign out, do anybody have any other questions or anything before we close out? I really hope that this was helpful and that it helped you to be able to navigate not only our scholarship application, but others, because a lot of other applications are very similar. I will stress again that personal statement and that letter of recommendation. Please ensure that you give it the thought that is needed and that's necessary to ensure that you paint the best picture of yourself. Again, just think about, if whoever is reviewing your application, think about what would your picture look like based off your application. Think about that for a second. I mean, would it look like a Picasso, or would it look like a Latrina's portrait? And I'm gonna say a Latrina's portrait is not a good portrait because I can't draw. So definitely make sure that when you submit that application, that you're confident that you have given it all of the thought, all of the detail, and please just don't click on something just to be clicking. Take your time. I will say with our application, it's not a lengthy one at all. Now, as long as you have the things that you need to upload, I mean, you could actually get ours submitted. Ty, what would you say that you could get that application submitted if you had all of your documentation? And we don't require a lot of documentation because it's really just your income, your transcript, if you're in school, acceptance letter, if you're looking a new or a transfer, um, taxes. I think I said that, and then the recommendation letters. The person that you're sending it over to actually does that. So,
I'll try to get all of my stuff submitted by like February 1st and then have my recommenders, I guess, in my mind. So,
yeah. So time frame, thinking about the application, just going through our application, how long do you think if they had all of their and give them a little
oh, you said for
window?
them to finish.
Yeah.
Oh,
But while
probably
she's
30
yeah, while she's thinking about this, and Ty's being generous. Honestly, if you have all of your information ready to go, she said it takes about 30 minutes. And I do agree with her because basically the only thing you're doing is filling out your information. Yeah, the personal statement. I'll say 30 minutes minus the personal statement. The reason I say that because I'm not necessarily a writer. However, it takes me a little longer to kind of sit down, craft my thoughts, and if you're going and you should let somebody else review it, then that way it will take you a little longer. Let me say this, just because you start an application today does not mean you need to submit it today. Now, I will say you want to go ahead and get through it so you can send the request over to the recommenders because you want to give them ample enough time. Let me just say this. Here we are now at January the 15th. Our application cycle will close February the 26th. I do not advise, I repeat, I do not advise that you wait until February the 14th to submit an application. Because if you do, guess what you're doing? You're now giving only, I mean, really under 2 weeks for your recommender to get in there and to do their part. And that's not really fair to them. You want to make sure you give them just the same, matter of fact, the same amount of time that you've had. So if you have an application in draft, you want to go ahead, that means you started it, but you haven't finished it. You want to go ahead and get that application sent over, completed and sent over. Because as soon as you click on that submit button, it sends that email over to whomever you've requested a recommendation from. Okay. So, oh, yes. And I didn't speak on this. No, you can't submit the recommendation letter that you got from your professor 3 years ago. No. What you can do is be kind and ask that same professor that you knew from 3 years ago to will are they willing to complete it on your behalf? Okay. One other thing just popped up because I think we just got this question. If you applied for our scholarship, let's just say 3 years ago, we no longer have that application. So we can't use that application and we cannot use anything from that application. Once we close our application cycle for the year, so this year when we close out February 26th, we kind of delete all of that information because we no longer need it. What we then hold on to is those individuals who will go into our review round who have submitted their applications. After that application pool closes, after we finish the review cycle, guess what? We clean out that system and we get ready and get geared up for the new year. So again, I do hope that what we've shared here has been helpful to you or somebody else. Hopefully, you've shared it out with somebody that you know who may benefit from hearing this information. Our goal is to be able to be vessels that can help you navigate this application cycle, whether it's ours or even it's somebody else's. Hopefully, what I shared with you today will help you with any scholarship application that you're in there completing. If you are in at currently have completed or are in the process of completing the Jeanette Rankin scholarship or the Emerge scholarship, I urge of you to actually go ahead and get in there and get it submitted. Again, your recommenders will thank you. And guess what? You'll be thankful that you got it submitted and you got it submitted earlier. Don't be a procrastinator. I'm telling you, it works out for you in the end. If you have any questions, again, I will give you this our info box, and we're going to close out this. I want to say before we do that, thank you guys so much for joining us on today. Hope what we've shared has been a help to somebody. And if it has, then our mission here on today has been accomplished. The email address, if you want to send us something, or if you need questions, you have questions that you want to ask us, or you need clarity, feel free to send it info at Rankin. That's RAN. That is R as in rabbit, A as in apple, N as in Nancy, K as in kite, I as in ice, N as in Nancy again. Foundation, spelled all the way out. FOUNDATION.org. Okay. So, guys, again, thank you so much for joining us here on the live at from the Jeanette Rankin headquarters here in Georgia. We hope that you guys are staying safe, and it's always never bye, but it's bye for now. Hopefully, we'll see you soon. Hopefully, those that are in there submitting applications will definitely see you at the finish line receiving one of the scholarship applications. Take care and be safe.